Gross. Whatever you want to do, you can go check it out. I mean, go see what they have. They still have deals on steaks. Yeah. You can check it out. Worth a trip. True that. And I think they know what they're doing the next week. Right. Welcome everybody to the first and last course you will ever need to buy. By the end of this video, give me 15 minutes and you will be not just a hairstylist, but a pro at the profit behind the chair. But please, before we start, be sure that you have viewed all the worksheets so you can follow along properly. I'm going to bring you step by step through each of the worksheets that we can go over to be sure that you understand the cost for a product, your living expenses, your charges that you give clients. So at the end of the day, you know what your profit is pertaining to each client and service you provided that day. Everybody has different taxes though, so I didn't put the taxes in there because 50 states, I'd have to go through 50 different examples, but we all know the state we live in. Do a quick Google search. Federal and state taxes. It's a quick Google search. You could just do that yourself. But as promised, 15 minutes or less, I'm gonna give you a full breakdown. So let's get started. So step number one is understanding your living expenses, your monthly living expenses, and your monthly operating expenses behind the chair, or if you're a commission stylist, what percentage you give up. You would just add that on to your daily total required. So if you're 50%, you would add whatever you need to make that day plus 50%. Because again, these are our expenses, and all our expenses have to be equated to the money we earn each day, and whatever's left from that is profit. Again, after taxes paid, of course. And you can create a little separate section for that for yourself because that number doesn't change. Step number two, please follow along for your expense calculations. And this is where I will break down what a product costs to you per each client. And this is very important. I think this is one of the biggest frustrations for hairstylists. They don't know what they're spending in product. And it's a simple formula once you understand, because all things are simple once you know how to use them and understand. So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you a bleach breakdown, a developer breakdown, foil breakdown, gloves breakdown, color breakdown, and basic shampoo conditioner breakdown. Because these are all things that we all use. And again, if you have products that are miscellaneous to this formula will still give you all the information you need to be able to break it down to understand per use cost. So with that being said, I'm gonna do a personal example of my numbers, and you can follow along step by step, or you can watch this whole video if you want and then go back and do your own, but I can walk you through it with my own numbers and you can fill out yours as we go. So, and this is not brand specific, like whatever you're using, you can create a list. What I do with the hairstylists in my group, what I have them do is go to the, let's say, Cosmoprof Salon Center, bring a list, look at your own inventory, write down everything you use, and then take a trip. And this trip should really only take you 20 minutes total at each location, and just write down again, because these numbers will fluctuate. Some of you buy from a rep, you might get it at bulk order, and there's all different pricing. So these pricings are just examples, but this is for everybody and anybody to break it down at whatever price point you are you're purchasing at. So let's do the breakdown. So for example, if we're buying any lightener, a bleach at $40, and we're getting 800 grams out of that container, you divide that per metric, and that brings it about to 0.5 cents. So say if you mix up your bowls of bleach and you're using 30 grams, you're gonna use 0.05 times 30 grams, and one bowl of bleach powder costs you $1.50. Again, let me break that down, and I'll show you over here. So again, bleach at $40 divided by 800 grams equals 0.5 cents. Now, whatever you're mixing your bleach at, it could be ounces or grams, I'm just doing grams, but it could be 30 grams, 40 grams, 100 grams. All you do is take that unit price. This 0.05 is a unit price. That is for 1 gram. But we are using, in my example, 30 grams of bleach. So that is $1.50 for 30 grams of powder bleach. So next one, developer. Developer, if I'm purchasing at $12 for 64 ounces, you do $12 divided by the 64 ounces, which equals, follow along, it's a long number, 0.1875 for 1 ounce. And say at the end of the service, say I'm doing a full head highlight. So I'm using both developer for the light hair and the color toner. So say I'm using 8 ounces total, I would add up all the ounces. I would be doing 0.1875 times 8, which is $1.50. Now foil. I did this number because foils are very hard to do because there's like 500 sheets in one box. I'm not gonna say the name, but most of us use it. This video is not sponsored by anybody else, so I'm not name dropping. But for example, if you're spending $14 on 500 sheets of foil, you would do 14 divided by 500, which would equal 0.028. And now you will want to start tracking how many foils you do. Because again, in the sense of offering a service, you have to know how much time and energy and product you're putting into that service. For example, if you're using more foils, what does that mean? You're doing more bleach. What does that mean? You're doing a bigger service. So I promise you, and this is something that has actually helped, has grown the majority of the stylists I've worked with, both the price point and the services they offer, and them having more confidence behind why they charge more, because they're doing more in the service. So say I'm using 200 foils. 200 foils would be $5.60 for that client. And this is a very much a client example. Again, gloves, we get boxes of like 100 gloves. I pay $17 for gloves, divided by the 100, 0.17 times, I only usually use about 2 sets of gloves, so that's 4 gloves. That costs me about 68 cents. Basic shampoo, basic conditioner. Again, this is more like an average for me, and most of us, because the hairstylists, we're kind of just pumping. But any basic shampoo, conditioner, nothing crazy fancy. I'm not saying, the expensive brands, but it comes to about 50 cents per client. Because again, you tend to be shampooing after bleach, any lightening service, and then you're shampooing again for the color service. So hopefully that gives a full breakdown. Again, these are just my examples, but here you have the exact breakdown to understand everything else. How to calculate the living and the business expenses, I already did that, but this is another example that you'll have for yourself. I do recommend printing this out at least once so you can follow along, and then just get a notebook for yourself. Again, okay, so I'm gonna start with my living expenses. Again, these are the expenses when I've worked with over 100 stylists at this point that have to be the most tracked. Like, you're gonna know these numbers, but these numbers are gonna vary based on really your hobby spending, your shopping spending, kids if you have them, like whatever those fluctuating numbers or metrics may be. But for the most part, our bills are our bills and we have to pay our bills. So let's start off. Mortgage, and this is, again, monthly. So mortgage, $1,700. Utilities, $700. I'm not gonna list you off all of these, but we have car payment, car insurance, food, hobbies. Hobbies are, let's say, gym membership, Netflix subscriptions, maybe going to the casino, just different things that we all have. So that's hobbies is like miscellaneous things that you do every month, you just don't know them out. You gotta track. Shopping, again, shopping being clothes, Amazon, anything you buy. So this is my average of spending each month, which comes up to $4,600. And then what you have to do is create an average of how many days a month you work. For example, I work 5 days a week, tends to be, on average, 20 days a month. So you will divide that number by 20. So it would be $4,600, my total living expenses on average, divided by 20, equals $230 a day. So my living expenses right now, unless I start paying more for something or paying less for something, or I start working more days or less days, this number will stay at $230 a day that I need to earn to pay for my current living expenses. Now we come over to your operating expenses. And again, if you're an independent stylist, this is how it's going to operate. If you're a commission stylist, again, you will have to take the number you have to earn based off your living expenses, breaks that down by how many days a month you work, and then add whatever the amount of commission is that they take out. So if every day you need to earn $230 to pay for your living expenses, now you need to add the percentage, like say 45% to this, to be sure that you're bringing home the end monthly or daily required income to pay for your living expenses. If you're a salon, same thing. I like to, when I work with salon owners, I like to operate them as just a stylist working at that salon, because salon profit tends to be so marginal that trying to get into all the numbers is very hard. So at least I have the hairstylist themselves as an individual in the salon, profiting and knowing they're making money, and then they can set up, it goes a little bit more in depth. If you need help, please reach out to me. It goes more in depth, but it's easier to separate the two. But nonetheless, chair rental for a month is $2,000. My food, because I put this into it, my food and snacks, about $300 a month. So total of that every month is $2,300. Again, I work 20 days a month, so I'm going to take that $2,300 and divide it by 20 days. That is a total of $115 a day. So if you add the two up, $230 plus $115, I need to earn behind the chair profit $245 daily just to break even, like just to pay my bills, no extra money. $345. So please fill out your own, and we will get now. I will give you examples what a day looks like, which you already have on your worksheet. So if you want to follow with that one, that's completely fine. Well, I'm going to walk you through an example. Now let me go over the example page with you, and this is, again, the quickest and easiest way to stay on track. And I highly recommend that you use this formula in this provided worksheet for at least the first month until you get the hang of things, because then you'll start getting an average. You'll know these numbers at the top of your head. You should know, like, in advance, like what you're gonna make from a fillet highlight, what you're gonna make from a bleach and tone, what you're gonna make from a glaze. These numbers will become norms to you. You will not have to break these down. But nonetheless, we're at the point of understanding the numbers, so let's go through it. So this is a full day. I have 3 clients this day. We'll go with number 1, Lisa. Lisa is a fillet highlight. I'm charging her $300 for the highlight. Within that service, the products I've used is in 3 bowls of lightener, 4 ounces of color, bonder, gloves, foil, shampoo, conditioner, developer, obviously. Total of that product cost to me was $50. She tipped me $30. So if you do obviously the $300 I charge her minus the $50 product cost plus $30, my total from her was $280. And then, second and fourth, I'm not going to go through it all because it's redundant. I think we're all smart enough to follow along with that. But nonetheless, you're going to take each amount and add them all up. So 280, 265 from Amy, 185 from TJ. So my total earnings that day, everything I brought in from the charges and the tips, were $230 after I paid for the product. So again, you have your expenses section. I suggest putting these in almost like immediately because again, these are the 2 numbers, your living expenses and your operating expense, that will not change unless you start paying more or paying less for something monthly, or working more or working less. And again, the working more and working less. Some of us stylists don't work consistently 20 days a month, but there is an average, and that is what you have to do. You have to be, pretty strict on yourself and disciplined to know or set yourself up to be consistent with these numbers. Again, most of us work either, 4-day, some of us a 3-day, but we are most, as an industry, working 5 days a week. If you work more, that's on you. Those are your numbers. So again, we knew that on my business, my overhead expenses were $115 a day. Living expense was $175 and $290 from this example. And I'm not talking about my living expenses from the other one. This is this example worksheet. And this is the one you want to keep printed out because this is way more organized than the rough edit you saw on mine. So print this one out, print the previous worksheet, and just keep them side by side so you're kind of like a cheat sheet so you know exactly how to structure yours. So at the end of the day, you know exactly what you profit. So again, total earnings from the day, $830 minus my expenses of $290 for living and operating brings me out to $540 for profit before I do my state and federal income tax. And everybody's is different, so I just left that blank. But again, quick Google search, you'll understand exactly your number for your state taxes. So now that you're ready to put this into action, let's do an example for tomorrow. Anybody who's watching this, who has clients tomorrow, you could do this day an example. This is called projections. And again, this is something I help with hairstylists, or our majority of the hairstylists I work with one-on-one are doing now. They're doing weekly or monthly projections of what that profit will be so they can, utilize their money accordingly if they want to save or save for, let's say, a vacation or down payment on a car or even house, or just want to know what money they could spend that month. What you can do is just pre-plan. So, everybody's booked tomorrow. Now, take this worksheet, write down each client, and start filling it out in advance. So, before the day even comes, you're profiting or not profiting. Hopefully, we're not profiting. But this will be, hopefully, the quickest and easiest way to have true clarity on what type of money you are or not making. And that is why I went out of my way to create this course, because I just see so much people asking questions on all the platforms, like how much should I be charging? What is this? It is so irrelevant to ask what people charge, other than understanding what I call price normality in your area. You can't be selling the same service for, $400 more than what everybody else is doing it at the same result. Obviously, that will hurt your business. But nonetheless, with this formula, you will be able to understand the money you're making every day. And what I recommend is just, again, worksheets, just keeping that number at the bottom, saving each worksheet, or just go get, little Post-it notes and write down, Tuesday, profit $530. Boom, put that aside. Tuesday, profit $312. Boom, put that aside. And then at the end of the week, put all those, Post-its in a drawer or top drawer or your glove compartment and just add up your true profit for that week. And ideally, most of us, depending on your living expenses, again, we all have different things. We have kids in college, sports, mortgages, investments, whatever it may be, or you just have a big spending habit. We all like nice things. But this will give you a true reality of what the extra money you have every week and every month, so you can plan accordingly. So there is no more guessing what I should charge or, hey, what do you charge? This format and this formula breakdown is what you have to charge. No ifs, ands, or buts. And then you understand the profit you're making. Majority of the stylists I work with, I like to see them, 180, anywhere from 150 to plus for a partial bleaching service profit. Ideally, on average. Again, we all have a different amount of clients in a day, different amount of work days in a month. So, but again, on average, I like to see my stylists, so you can go back and reflect on yours, making about 150 plus on a partial, 200, definitely 200 plus on minimum on a full or above, like a full, no left hairs behind, tip out, bleach and tone, all that. But again, all of our numbers are different. Everything we're charging might be too low. I know, this is going to be a wake-up call for a majority of you and say, wow, I'm making little to no money. And I hope that's not the case. And again, you can hit me up on Instagram, Hairlikeaboss. If you guys don't know my Instagram and you just purchased the course, my Instagram is Hairlikeaboss. And I am more than welcome. You're more welcome to hit me up, and I will be sure to get to you as soon as possible. I am creating a free community for everybody. Anybody who buys this course will have 3 free months to that community. So you will undoubtedly start profiting like a pro after this course. Thank you.